My interest in social networks actually began with a prior interest in the widowhood effect, which is the increased probability of the recently bereaved to die.
Professor Nicholas Christakis is a social scientist and physician who conducts research in the areas of social networks and biosocial science and directs the Human Nature Lab at Yale University.
I'd been caring for people who were dying. They would die, and then within a few months, their spouse would die of a broken heart. So there was an old literature on studying dying of a broken heart. In the late 90s, I started doing research on this topic, studying why is it that when your partner dies, you're more likely to die? And that is actually one of the most powerful illustrations of the role of interdependence in health, because death is a serious health outcome. And marriage is a serious illustration of interdependence. And here we have the two of them connected when people die of a broken heart.
Welcome to Season 5 of AWAKEN, a podcast from the Reuven Museum of Himalayan Art about the dynamic path to enlightenment and what it means to wake up. I'm Devendra Banhart, singer, songwriter, artist, and your host. In this season, we hear from experts in the realms of art, social science, Buddhism, and more to better understand how interdependence is the foundation of every aspect of our lives. Himalayan art has long been a pathway to insights and awakening. And over the course of 8 episodes, we look specifically at a painting of the Wheel of Life to see what it can teach us about the interconnected nature of existence. Throughout this journey, we'll discover how greater awareness of our interdependence can be the wake-up call that motivates us to take actions for a better world. In this episode, health. Our bodies may be the single most tangible reminder of the reality of interdependence. For them to function, every part and system at every moment has to work together in a wholly interconnected and fluid way. But, as Nicholas Christakis' story reflects, good health isn't limited to just physical functioning. There's an emotional component as well. In fact, a core part of Tibetan medicine is the knowledge that our health is not only dependent on what we eat and drink, but how we move and rest, how we feel, and the community around us. Dr. Nida Chenagtsang is one of the world's most renowned Tibetan doctors. He's the founder and medical director of the Sowa Rigpa Institute and Sowa Rigpa International, organizations dedicated to preserving and promoting traditional Tibetan medicine. Dr. Nida was born in the Amdo region of Tibet. He was not always inclined toward a career in medicine, but once he found his path, he never turned back.
I was born in a yurt in the nature. It's very old-fashioned, very, very old-fashioned and very organic. So for me to remembering like my hometown, homeland is the nature, the grassland. And I always felt that's it. I'm part of the nature and nature part of me, kind of the bond. Interconnection was very, very powerful. And when I grew up in the grassland, I was connected with nature, but then started to go to school and then the buildings, houses. I really felt something is missing, disconnected. And then one day I went back to my birthplace. My dad was there and I was barefoot and just walking near a little river and this. And suddenly, like my barefoot touched on the flowers, the buttercup flowers. And then I really felt like these flowers are talking to me. And I really felt like this and this kind of feeling of acceptance, right? And a feeling of like a belongingness. And I really had a very, very, very deep, I don't know, more spiritual or like a natural kind of very powerful experience. And then my tears are just coming. That's just like crying. It's not like a sad, but like this. Like I really thought that's it. I'm part of this nature and nature is part of me. And we are kind of like forever bonded. And then I really felt like this unimaginable beauty and harmony between humans and the nature, right? But in that case, like between myself and the flowers and the grassland and the river and the mountain, all these things is like completely like a union like this. And then my tears are coming. And I was kind of like stuck there. That's the power of nature. And that power of nature comes when we are connected, right? That's why this interconnection is so important. It's not just I am a part of the nature or we are part of the nature, right? And nature is part of us too, right? You see, it's not just one way, it's both way. And then one of my friends says, oh, there's a Tibetan medicine class. And one of our local doctors teaching in the evening. This is very kind of Tibetan style. The old doctors in the evenings at their home, they give free lectures. Anybody can go there. So I went to join one of this class. And then one of other teachers says, oh, in this August, if you want to join us picking up herbs, we go to the herbal camp. We bring our tents and camp there for a week or days, and like picnics and hiking and picking up herbs and studying. I hiked the mountain and went very, very, very up. And I just sitting. It's kind of, that time I don't do meditation. And I just sitting and relax. I really felt that giant mountain is talking to me, and I knew that was my inner voice too. Again, like, you are me, and I'm you, right? So all about the essence of our human existence is the nature. And like we are kind of ever connected. There's no separation. And then when I kind of wake up from that feeling, I said, that's it. Then I was 17 years old. That's why I'm saying, now I can make my own decision. That's it. What I want is Tibetan medicine, because Tibetan medicine is the herbs, it's the nature, it's the fresh water, it's the soil, about organic food, it's the plant, and it's the talk, it's the connection. And everything is interconnected. Many people, when they think about health, they say, oh, I'm healthy. Physically, I'm healthy. Mentally, I'm okay. That's about my health. Right? But health is much more than that. And our health is depending on our diet. Our health is depending on our lifestyle. Our health is depending on our sleep quality. Our health is depending on the environment. Our health is depending on the society, social connections, you see, and especially when we talk about holistic medicine. So what does it mean? The holistic medicine is the expression about the interdependency and interconnectivity. And especially in our time today, that the nature of this, the power of the interdependence is so strong.
Dr. Nida went on to become a doctor and now trains aspiring doctors all over the world. He teaches the importance of balance and taking a broad view of what health means, including our social connections. Again, Nicholas Christakis.
One day I was working on the south side of Chicago, taking care of an older woman who was dying, who was being cared for by her daughter. And the daughter was exhausted for caring for her mother, who was dying of dementia. And the daughter's husband had become depressed because his wife was exhausted for caring for her mother. And the husband's best friend was really worried about his friend. And I get a phone call one day from the daughter's husband's best friend calling me as the hospice doctor taking care of this woman for help. And so I suddenly had this realization that this phenomenon I'd been studying in my lab, the widowhood effect, wasn't restricted just to husbands and wives, and wasn't even just restricted to pairs of people. It could ripple through the network and affect other people. And that really opened my own eyes. I mean, health is very connected to our social interactions.
It's just like a huge, like a web, like billions of little dots. They're all interconnected and interdependent. So we cannot talk about health. And without talking about the human relationship, our social relationship, we cannot talk about psychology, right? What's something very important is we know that we humans are animals, and these animals have a very special characteristics. And the first one is intelligence. We are intelligent animals. And the second one is we are super social animals. So what is a healthy structure of the social? And there's a good interconnection and interdependence. I often say one of the most powerful Buddhist philosophy is interdependence, but we should not see as a philosophy. We should see as a foundation of like essential, like power of human existence, right? It's like that interdependent or interconnection is like a synergy. Because of this synergy, we have energy. Because of this synergy, we are still alive, right? So we can be happy, we can be productive, and we can be functional, and we can help others.
This season, we're focusing on a painting of the Wheel of Life in the Rubin Museum's collection. The Wheel of Life, also known as the Wheel of Existence, is a foundational symbol in Buddhism and offers a visual representation and reminder of the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Part of the wheel depicts the realms of existence where it's possible to be reborn. To see the artwork in detail, go to rubinmuseum.org/wheel. Here, Professor Annabella Pitkin, who teaches Buddhism and East Asian religions at Lehigh University, talks us through the Hell realm.
In the Tibetan and Himalayan artistic traditions, hell is always at the bottom. It's the very, very worst realm. And very, very importantly, before we even describe for ourselves the nature of the sufferings that beings are undergoing there, that are pictured in this image, we really have to remind ourselves again that this is a dynamic model of the universe, and that the processes through which living beings find themselves in a hellish state, just like the processes that cause living beings to find themselves in a god realm or a hungry ghost realm or an animal realm or a human realm, those processes are infinitely ongoing. They are dynamic. They are part of a universe that's always changing. And so hell is the worst state a being can find themselves in. It's so agonizing there. It's very hard to remember that we could be free. However, this optimistic picture doesn't just show us the terrors, it also shows us, once again, the Buddha standing up and teaching. And the Buddha has not forgotten the beings in hell. They are not abandoned, and they are in no way doomed forever. The Buddha is saying, even in the most hellish experience, we can remember our connection with one another, our real community with one another, and it is actually possible to generate loving kindness and compassion even under situations of extreme pain. And that profound insight from the Buddhist traditions is more relevant than ever in the world we live in now, in which so many communities and tens of millions of people are suffering so extremely from war, from displacement and loss of home, from climate change, from disease and epidemics and poverty, from so many forms of agonizing suffering. And the image of the painting is suggesting that we are not trapped by those situations. We are the kinds of beings who are eminently capable of reconnecting at any point with the love and compassion and care that, according to this image and to Buddhists, is the path to freedom and to actual healing of the whole hellish situation. The message that goes with it is this really profound message of transformation that says the minute that one can cultivate in the midst of one's own pain, love or care, or even just a small wish for the person next to us to feel a little bit better, that wish sets us free, and the person next to us. The Buddha is said to have been, in his sojourn in hell, yoked to a cart next to another suffering being. And the Buddha, to be the Buddha during that sojourn in hell, is said to have tried to take the load upon himself. And that small act of compassion was enough to break hell open and to set the Buddha free. So that possibility then is available to all of us the moment we can return to this awareness of our own interdependence. The flames of hell fall away.
Reconnecting with our understanding of interdependence doesn't just come through knowing we're all connected, but also realizing that those connections can have lasting consequences for our health and well-being. Nicholas Christakis.
Our friends don't just transmit information and germs to us. Our friends also model good and bad behaviors. So if your friends are all smokers and you become a smoker, that's an example of how, despite having friends, which is good for you, the fact that those friends are smokers and are making you a smoker is bad for you. So the way I think about this is connection and contagion. There's the things that have to do with our connections to each other and things that have to do with the contagion across the connections that we make with each other. So our friends affect us in terms of our health habits and in terms of the knowledge that they bring. Or, for example, if let's say you get diabetes and one of your friends has diabetes and your friend says, "Oh, I've had a long experience managing diabetes. Here's how I manage it." Or here's a good doctor to go to help care for your diabetes. That's a way a friend of yours could be helpful to you in a health type situation.
Dr. Nida Chenagtsang.
We're interconnected, actually. It's interdependent. Our health, it's very clear, depends on what we eat, what we do. So that's why Greek medicine says we are what we eat, right? And Tibetan medicine says our health is depending on what we eat and what we drink. It's not only what we eat and what we drink. Our health is depending on what we do.
There are four things that we need to think about. So first is the food.
Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche is a renowned meditation teacher, author of several books on Buddhism, and head of the worldwide Tergar meditation community.
So what kind of food we should eat? So normally we call the food, we talk about the elements and then temperature. So heat-based food, cold-based food. For example, it's similar like modern, not too much oily, not too much protein, not very little protein, not too much carb. So it has to have balance, everything. So nowadays, sometimes people say only protein or only carb or only vegetable. Sometimes they say, what is the best food? So I said, the best food is variety. It's difficult to find only one best food. People nowadays, they have this question. The one thing is the best. We always look for singularity, what we call singularity. This is very difficult to find the singularity. It's interdependent, so many cause and condition. So to find the food, also have balance.
So that's why you see natural medical system is holistic, and the synergy, the energy is happening it's all about the interdependence. I always tell my patients, I try to help you, support you, but you are the healer. We need to have a different way of thinking.
Second is what we call balance between resting and active. Like in the ancient time, most people do movement. So there's not worry too much about less movement because most of people are farmer or nomad. They have to clean.
They're out on the grassland. All farmers, they're in the field, right? Everybody, like an old society, ancient time is everybody is like everybody very active outdoor. But today we are not active, including the kids. So that's why if somebody is physically active, doing exercises or sport or walk or whatever regularly doing, actually, this is a sign of a healthy person.
If you don't move at all, then body become unbalanced. And then it's not good. But if you too much movement without resting, I think it may not be good. Resting and movement to find balance. And then sleep. Similar, like 6 hours to 8 hours. But too much sleep also not good. In the ancient texts, too much sleep, then the organs lose function. Mind become very dull. Like maybe overly more than 8 hours sleep every day might be not so good. I'm not sure, but there's not so much nowadays research about that.
I can say in a simple way, that healthy person can get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And that person has awareness, emotional awareness, right? Emotional stress, whatever emotional going, there's a good awareness. So because of that awareness, a good emotional manager. Some people says, oh, I'm a good emotional manager. My sleep is disaster. I doubt in that. Because emotions and sleep quality is interconnected, interdependent. So that's why for me, sleep is very important.
But if you think too much, concentrate too much, then energy go up. So this is why what we call the stress. Stress is think too much, concentrate too much. Then mind become wild. Lot of sensitive, like anxiety, depression, panic, all this comes. Special, before go to sleep, don't concentrate too much, otherwise energy go up, the element in the body. So special, we have the meditation. So if the mind too active, then what we call calm abiding meditation. So shamatha meditation. If mind is too dull and no energy, then analytical meditation, get more energy, and overall find this balance. So these 4 things are very important for the health, and for the mental health, for the physical health, and also for the spiritual practice.
I think the more we understand what natural medicine is, and the more this holistic health awareness we must have, including the patient. We need to find the balance and we have to wake up. Okay, here I'm bringing the Buddha's message. Buddha means wake up. We really need to wake up, right? And most of the disease can be prevented. Number 1 target is healthy people. Hey, healthy people, wake up, right? So many people are worried, anxious, anxiety. What happens the next day? What happens the next month? What happens the next year? What happens if I lose my job? What happens this and that? I often say sometimes, don't ask these questions. What happens to me? You should more think, what happens to us? You're not alone. We're interconnected, right? Interdependence. It means I'm not existing just by myself. I'm here. My partner is, my kids are here. My friends are here. My parents are here. My this. Then we don't need to worry too much. There's a Tibetan expression, I really like it. It says, Mina wa neurchepa. It means that somebody is not sick yet. Healthy people, help them to maintain their good health. Keep your balance. That's it, balance.
Balance. It's that simple. And remembering we're always in relationship. we have to support, help, comfort, and celebrate one another, as our social connections are inextricably tied to our mutual well-being. You just heard the voices of Dr. Nida Chenagtsang, Nicholas Christakis, Annabella Pitkin, and Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche. I'm Devendra Banhart, singer, songwriter, artist, and your host. To see the artwork discussed in this episode, go to rubenmuseum.org/wheel. If you're enjoying the podcast, leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts, and tell your friends. For more stories and news from the Reuben, follow us on Instagram @ReubenMuseum and sign up for our newsletter at rubenmuseum.org. AWAKEN Season 5 is an 8-part series from the Reuben. AWAKEN is produced by the Reuben Museum of Himalayan Art with Kimon Keramidas, Gracie Maroda, Christina Watson, and Sarah Sebdrotsky, in collaboration with Sound Made Public, including Tanya Ketenjian, Philip Wood, Alessandro Santoro, and Aaron Siegel. Original music has been produced by Hannes Brown with additional music from Blue Dot Sessions. AWAKEN Season 5 is sponsored by the Prospect Hill Foundation and by generous contributions from the Reuben's Board of Trustees, individual donors, and friends of the Reuben. This program is supported in part by public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council. Thank you for listening.